welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. Happy Friday, we are less than 24 hours away until football action back at St James's Park. Premier League, Bournemouth, 3 o'clock tomorrow, buzzing for it. Hopefully get a win this time, that would be nice. Newcastle are winless in their last 3 Premier League home matches. The away form and the home form is tilted on its head, completely swapped, roles reversed. So I mean, we've won a few away from home now, and we've lost or drawn at home. Obviously, last time out, that 4-4 thriller against Luton Town. Less of that tomorrow, please. Let's just have a nice, easy day at the office. 1-0, I'll take that. That'll do. And it probably will be something like that, to be fair, with all the injuries and the lack of striker options, which I'm sure we'll get into soon, and we'll talk more about the preview in just a moment. First, we're going to talk about Dan Ashworth, of course. I mean, that's the topic. That's what everyone's on about. That's what everyone's waiting for, that formal approach from Manchester United. And that was all the questions on Eddie Howe this morning at the press conference was all about Dan Ashworth. Dan should have been sitting there, to be fair. They should have brought him in. He should have had poor old Eddie sitting there. Because at the end, after half an hour, he was like, do you know what it is? I can't talk about it anymore. He was like, it's not for me to say. That's a question for Dan. That's a question for Dan. That's a question for Dan. Sound like Alan Partridge. Dan! Do you know what I mean? It's enough. You can't. There's not much more we can do. So Eddie Howe was getting to the point where you can see he was getting fed up with the questions about Ashworth. But that's what everyone's talking about. Everyone's waiting to see how it's going to play out. And Eddie Howe was asked, what's going on with Dan then? Have you been speaking to him, first of all? And he said, yeah, I still talk to him every day. And he wouldn't really give too much away in terms of what was said. I mean, one journalist did ask him, has Ashworth told you that he wants to stay at Newcastle this week? And Eddie Howe smirked and then said, no. So we know he doesn't want to stay. We know he wants to go. That is now coming from Eddie Howe. The club are well aware of that. They're well aware that Ashworth wants to leave. And the main thing to take away from it all was just the case that they want it to happen. Can we get it over and done with, please? Can we get this fast-tracked, Ashworth F off, and move on, basically? Because it's just a matter of time now. We're waiting for Man United to come in. Obviously, there's this whole debacle over, his garden leave and Titchmarsh again. I mean, how long is he going to have? Man United don't want that. They want him to come straight in. So that means more money, more compensation. At the minute, we're talking about excess of £6 million. That would obviously be more if they wanted to limit that garden leave. So that's what's obviously going on behind the scenes now, trying to work that out and trying to get to a resolution, because that is what everybody wants. Ashworth wants to pick up his bags from St James's and go to Old Trafford, and we want him out, and that's it. Are you worried that Ashworth is taking secrets, transfer targets, and that type of thing over to Man United from Newcastle? And he said, yeah, that is the strange thing. He says this is a pretty unheard of situation, to be honest with you, because normally it's players that are getting transferred or linked to moves away. A director of football, it's quite new. I know we did it from Brighton, to be fair, but Howe was saying, he's not used to it. He's never had anything like it. And he is worried because in the project Newcastle were building, Ashworth was in the middle of that engine. He was the cog that was running it in terms of the direction, and he knew what was happening and the targets and the ideas and the plans. He was there, the academy, everything. So that's the sticking point, and that's the frustration for me, as I've said all along. I don't like the idea of Ashworth going to Old Trafford and being, Newcastle, we're going to do this, that. They were going to sign him, and this is what was, I don't like that. That's not what we want. We don't want our, and it should be some sort of disclosure, to be fair. It should be in his contract, but we all know how much can we really stick by that. But you wouldn't want that to be happening. We don't want Ashworth to go there and tell them, reveal all our secrets, plans and projects, to be fair. And that's, I think, where Eddie Howe was massively frustrated. Because on the side of just losing Ashworth as a director of football, Howe didn't really seem that bothered. And I thought there was a subtle dig in there now and again where he was suggesting, well, Ashworth has done well, he has done certain things, but in terms of transfers, where everyone's thinking, the transfer window, what's going to happen now? He's the man that gets all the transfer deals done. As I've said before, when I've talked about Ashworth, not really, because Eddie Howe gets the final say on transfers. Him and his inner circle, that Ashworth is apparently not a part of, so him, Graham Jones, Tyndall, Andy Howe, his nephew, they all look at transfer dealings, they all have the targets, and they have the ultimate say on whether we sign or sell someone. So it's not just Ashworth doing everything in his office, picking out these targets like he's working on FM. Do you know what I mean? He's not on FIFA, picking everyone out. It's not happening. So he was kind of saying, well, he hasn't had that much time to have an impact as well, which I thought was interesting that Eddie Howe said that. He said, well, to be honest, he hasn't been here long enough. He said he hasn't really seen the fruits of that labour. He hasn't been there that long, 18, 20 months? He hasn't really been there long because a director of football said you don't really realise what you've done or accomplished things until you're 5-10 years down the lane easy, which was the case with Edwards, who was at Liverpool, that we've been linked with. it took a while for them to get going and build things up, and it's going to be the same at Newcastle. So he's saying, like, well, what really has Ashworth achieved in such a short space of time? Not much, because he said Ashworth was good in the terms of how he just let the strategy and the foundations continue as they were a little bit with a few tweaks. So it's not like Ashworth's done a groundbreaking job and these Man United fans are getting so excited by him. I don't really get it that much. I just think because we haven't had the chance to do it. I hope, just to spite those Man United fans that are in the comments on the YouTube channel, trying to give it, oh, salty Newcastle fans, really not that bad, to be honest. But, in the sense of where I hope that someone else comes in for him. Yeah? Hope Bayern Munich won Ashworth, and trust me, we all know he'll be grabbing his passport and he will be out of there. He loves it. He dashes like now, it's the matter. So if another option comes in, more money, see you later. I hope that happens to Man United as well. But just to wrap up things on what I said about Ashworth, that was it, and he said, like, well, thanks, Dan, but no, it's not the end of the world. The football club's still ambitious. We're still going to go forward, and we still have all these big plans, and we'll get cracking with it. We'll get to work on it. But those are the main parts I wanted to take away before we do get into the Bournemouth preview. So as we look ahead to some more Premier League action this weekend, if you want to follow the Newcastle game, any Premier League game, any game across Europe and the world, to be fair, download Sofascore. You can scan that QR code now, or hit the link in the description and get amongst Sofascore. Forget all the other apps, you're wasting your time. This is the place to be. This is your one-stop shop for all the stats, data, scores, and it's the fastest live football app in the world. So there's no other quicker app that will update you on a score faster than Sofascore. So have a look at them, and thank you to them for sponsoring this video. I'll be using it again this weekend myself. It's a quality app, so make sure you do hit the link in the description or scan that QR code. Right then, the Cherries, Eddie Howe against his former side, willing to win for the first time, hopefully. He's never won against them. Can you believe that? He must still have a soft spot for them. Do you know what I mean? He still fancies his ex. Yeah, he can't get over it. Honestly, Dan, to be fair, I'm just taking it. I think tomorrow he'll get over her. He'll get over the Cherries, and the Magpies will be scranning cherries tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping for. Really am. I fancy some cherries now, actually. Fancy some cherries tonight. But I think, Eddie Howe hasn't beat Bournemouth yet since he left. Let's make that happen. But he's going to have to do it without his ex-Bournemouth striker, Callum Wilson, who, as was said in the podcast earlier in the week, was said should we sell Wilson. Now it's been confirmed that he's going to be out for about 3 months, so pretty much missing the rest of the season. Unbelievable stuff. Well, it's not unbelievable, is it? It's totally believable, to be honest with you, with Wilson. His injury record's on the screen there now. It's honking, man. 41% of matches he's missed for Newcastle. If he doesn't come back this season, that'll be close to half of the games he's missed, man. Absolutely insane. 70-odd games missed through injury. Wowcha. Not good enough, man. I've told you, the bloke is made of poppadoms. I love him. He's a fantastic goal scorer, brilliant bloke. But I said in January, I said in the summer gone, you cannot be relying on him now for fitness. And cash in, man, if you can, how much you can get. He's linked to West Ham in the summer, Saudi Arabia, wherever. Or like we said in the podcast during the week, like Keg was saying, keep him as a third choice striker where you have the luxury of suiting around him where he can play 20 minutes here and there. But he can't start games and he can't, it's crazy. To be fair, this one's a mad injury. It's another freak injury in a freak season of injuries. A pectoral issue there where he was wrestling with that defender in the last minute at Forest. And that's why he's now out for 9 to 12 weeks. Insane, man. Mental. But the Wilson won't be a part of the old Wilson-Howe Bournemouth derby. So, there it is. I'm looking forward to it, though. Can't wait to get to St James Park tomorrow. Remember, I'll be at Pumphrey's Bar before the game, as always, doing a pre-match chat from about 1 p.m. So, in more injury news, how's Alexander Isak getting on? Will we have a fit striker? Well, Eddie Howe said he's very close to coming back, but he probably will miss the game tomorrow against Bournemouth. That means he's starting then. So Isak will be starting. Get your money on that. You know what I mean? Anthony Gordon style. He did a similar thing this week with Jacob Murphy. He said Murphy hasn't trained this week yet, and then smiled and laughed. So who knows, really? But with Murphy and Isak, I think they'll probably be on the bench. I think you'll go with Gordon down the middle as our number 9, and that should be enough against Bournemouth. And like I say, I think Bournemouth are having a very good season. They fell off a little bit lately. Winless in 5 Premier League games, beaten 3-1 against Fulham last week. I know Areola is doing a good job there, and he's sort of sorting them out and playing a new style of play. But nah, winless in 5. We need a win. Keep us in that European mix 6th, 7th. There's no excuses tomorrow for me, because if you can't beat your Bournemouth at home, I know we didn't beat Luton at home, but then we've got great wins away at Villa and Forest. So let's just get back on track. Let's sort out St James's Park again, get that fortress running for the rest of the season and get the win. And I know we can't be too over-expectant because of the injuries to our forwards and everyone else. And like Jody Rick was saying during the week, he thinks Eddie Howe is doing a great job of what he's can do with at his disposal so far this term. But for me, you know, I'm backing a win all day long. I'm backing a win even without these injuries. Like I said, Isaac is very close, unlikely to play tomorrow. Murphy hasn't trained. Willock's very close as well. I've been hearing that for months. Elliot Anderson and Matt Targett are both 10 days away from return to training, so that's good news as well. So there you have it. It's Fabian Shaw up top Saturday. Let's do it. Let's go for it. I fancy it, honestly. At this point, he's going to have to go there. Imagine if Gordon got injured, or you're rotating Barnes, or we just got wingers as strikers. It's a bit mad, but it is what it is. I think for this one, I'm going for a bit of a reserved 1-0 Newcastle win, even though I'm really torn between a 2-0 or a 2-1. 3 points is all that matters to me. I'm looking forward to the game. I just want to get the win, get out of there, and get the 3 points on the board. Cheers for watching, everyone. Make sure you drop your thoughts below on Ashworth, on transfers, on injuries, and your score predictions as well. Remember, you can go over to our Instagram at the Magpie channel and put your score predictions on our match day post there with Meat Stack, and you can win yourself some lovely free scran and beer. So have a look for that on our Instagram. Every match day, the post with Meat Stack, where you can enter the correct goal scorer, the first one, and the correct score to win match of the trades. Burgers, chicken tenders, fries, beers, the lot. Enjoy yourself. Have a great weekend, people. Stay tuned. We'll be there tomorrow. Match day vlog, maybe. Match reaction, definitely. Cheers, people. See you later.